Why I Want is back, and we're going over some of the other guys that could be top picks in this year's NHL draft. We're just trying to fill in the holes here. You know, the recent videos with Jiricek, with Conor Geekie, we're talking mostly about guys that do have an outside chance of creeping into the top 10 depending on which teams like which players. Like Conor Geekie, we're talking today about a scoring forward. However, this guy's offense and the body of work he does in the offensive zone is somewhat on a different planet than Geekie. Not to say he's so much better or he's so much worse or whatever, just they're different. And so today we're going over from the WHL to the Allsvenskan now. And I say Allsvenskan, but really it's the SHL. We're talking today about Jonathan Lekkerimaki out of the Djurgårdens IF in the SHL. Now, we gotta get semantics out of the way here first. He played for Djurgårdens in the SHL this season, but they weren't a good team, so they got relegated. They're playing in the Allsvenskan next season, which actually could be a really good thing for Lekkerimaki and his development. But Jonathan Lekkerimaki is a 17-year-old, 5'11", 172-pound right-handed right-wing player who was born on July 24, 2004. He's one of the younger guys in this year's NHL draft, and his consolidated ranking is 11th overall. Rankings range from as high as 7th overall by Sportsnet to as low as 21st overall by Elite Prospects. This is a guy that could realistically go somewhere in the mid-teens, but if he started to creep into the top 10, that wouldn't be surprising to me in the slightest. There are some other outlets here who do have him as a top 10 pick. Craig Button has him at 9. Recruit Scouting and Dauber also have him at 9. So this really is somewhat of a grab bag as to where you could project Lekkerimaki to actually go in the draft. The European NHL Central Scouting List actually has him at 6th overall on their ranking, so that's not particularly great if you're trying to say this would be a top 10 talent. But either way, when it comes to the scouting outlets and scouts that like Lekkerimaki, there is one thing that they're absolutely going to highlight first and foremost right in the spotlight when it comes to what makes him so special: his goal scoring. This is an absolutely lethal offensive threat, and he's shown this off at every level he has played at since this guy was a younger preteen. Take a look at what he did for the Djurgårdens J18 team when he was a 16-year-old player. In 8 games played last year, he had 12 goals and 4 assists. This season, playing for the Djurgårdens J20 team as a 17-year-old, because he was born in July, so his entire season was him being 17 years old. In 26 games played, the guy had 20 goals, 15 assists for 35 total points. He was just under a goal-a-game player. Also in the SHL, again as a 17-year-old, he played 26 points and he had 7 goals in that sample. He added on 2 assists for a total of 9 points, and what's really interesting to note about his production this season in the Swedish Hockey League as well as the J18 team was that the majority of his points actually came at 5v5 play. This isn't a guy that went out there and had his numbers stacked and boosted because he was on the power play every time they got a man advantage, and for a lot of people, myself included, that's a really important thing to differentiate, that a player this young is indeed able to produce at 5v5 in one of the top hockey leagues in the entire world and look comfortable doing so. Lekkerimaki also suited up for Team Sweden at the World Under-18s, where in 6 games played, you're going to get a kick out of this, the guy had 5 goals, so there you go, he was under a goal a game. But he also had 10 assists for a total of 15 points on the tournament. He was the top point producer on the entire tournament. He won the gold medal with Team Sweden, and if you take a look at where Lekkerimaki's point production number ranks amongst other players who have played in this tournament before, Lekkerimaki's 17-year-old World Under-18 tournament was better than that of William Nylander's, Alex Ovechkin's, Mikhail Granlund's, Yoel Armia, Vladimir Tarasenko, Austin Matthews, and his season was as good as Ilya Kovalchuk's was back in 2001. There are only a handful of players, 16 and 17 years old alike, who bested Lekkerimaki, and their names go as follows: Cole Caulfield, Konstantin Zakharov, Phil Kessel, Johan Larsson, Shane Wright, Jack Hughes, Nikita Kucherov, and Tony Rayala. When it comes to how Lekkerimaki plays the game, let's go over onto mynhldraft.com to see just what scouts are saying. Sam Constantino says that he is a driver of play with elite finishing ability. which is not wrong, but it is not too descriptive. Peter Baracchini on the Hockey Writer says that he is a lethal sniper with a strong and powerful release and even better accuracy. Even when he doesn't have anything, he has great patience to take his time to curl back and quickly attack the open lane when he sees it. Now, patience is a really good quality to have, and I want to talk about that a little bit more as we go through this video. Scott Wheeler says that Lekkerimaki has progressed rapidly, quickly becoming a dynamo inside the offensive zone and on the power play. He's got a knack for hitting holes in the net, frequently beating goalies low blocker and 5-hole. Meanwhile, Josh Bell of the Sporting News and Future Consideration says he's yet another forward in this class with an excellent shot, who seems to be able to get it off his stick from anywhere in the offensive zone at any time and put it in the back of the net. He's a very strong skater and plays hard in the offensive zone, but he could stand to bring that effort back to his own end. When it comes to pure shooting ability, not just the qualities of a shooter that he possesses, but the shooting ability itself, Lekkerimaki, in my opinion, probably has the best shot of the draft. The only one that's going out there and rivaling him, I think Shane Wright and Joakim Kemell both have cases to make for that argument, but it's hard to doubt Lekkerimaki in this respect. Loading up, wrist shot, snapshot, on the rush, one-timer, etc., he can clap bombs, and he is just such a versatile shooter that it's really difficult to go out there and discredit him, especially with the numbers that he put up in the past. He's good at rotating around the offensive zone when he doesn't have the puck to find prime real estate. And the SMOT scouting article written by Josh Tesler kind of highlights another part of Lekerimaki's game that is great too. Here's what the article says. What I really like about Lekerimaki's ability to find open ice is that he does a good job of identifying attackers who are puck-watching and knows that they are vulnerable to keeping pace with him should he activate and skate from the half-wall to the slot to generate a passing lane. Lekkerimaki takes advantage of the defensive mistakes and provides his teammates behind the net with a quality lane to exploit. He also is a pretty good forechecker, often trailing players who have the puck in their own defensive zone and giving them a difficult time. He's not necessarily the best playmaker out there, but he does do the right things when it comes to making sure the play doesn't die on his stick and at least progresses forward. There could be some more progression to go in that respect, but at the end of the day, if you're drafting Lekkerimaki, you're drafting him because he could be a 30-goal option at the NHL level should he really pan out to his potential. But Lego, you said this guy scores a whole bunch of goals. Look at the amount of goals he got. Why can't you say this guy's worth 40 or 50 goals? It's because even though Lekkerimaki to me is just such a good goal scorer, I feel like in order to get to 40 goals, there's a level of offensive activation that a player needs to have within them to allow them to do that. And I don't really know if Lekkerimaki necessarily has it. He's a really good player when he has the puck on his stick and he hammers it towards the goal or finds a passing option. But when I think of other 50-goal scorers, Chris Kreider, okay, he's kind of the exception here because the guy went out there and just scored 50 rebound and tap-in goals. When I think about Austin Matthews scoring 60 and I think of Ovechkin scoring 50, I don't think Lekkerimaki has that type of ceiling within him. He's going to have to develop his understanding of the game and what it takes to create offense in order to get to 50 goals, but 30 I think should be a pretty reasonable mark to expect out of this guy. You just plug and play, you draft him, you put him on a line with some good playmakers, and bam, watch him put the puck in the back of the net. That's what you're going to be drafting this guy for. Another aspect that I think has been underlooked, and I wanted to talk about this a bit more, was his patience. This is what Alexa Potok of Dobber Prospects said about Lekkerimaki. Looking deeper into why he is capable of beating goalies with ease, it begins with his patience. If Lekkerimaki is not given an open lane, he waits to fire his shot or looks for a pass option. He is a natural goal scorer, but his passing ability is noteworthy as well. Another part of Lekkerimaki's goal-scoring excellence is his release time. No matter if he's in the net front or shooting from the face-off circle, he's able to get his shot off with no hesitation. Even when the guy's getting out there on a breakaway, we saw this at the World Under-18s. When he gets beaten by a goalie, like the goalie has cut off all his angles, he is not afraid to hold onto the puck that little extra split second to open up a better angle for his shot and then just roof it backhand over the goaltender's pads or whatever. He displays such a good level of poise with the puck that it's going to be really great to see how it translates. It's just, for me, I think about Lekkerimaki holding onto the puck in the offensive zone and waiting for those opportunities to open up with the goaltender, and I ask, how much space is he going to be given at the NHL level? Sure, he's playing Swedish junior hockey and he's getting all this space, but by the time he gets upwards to higher levels of play, how much time is he really going to be given? Sure, his SHL production was good for what it was, but at the end of the day, there still are concerns that I have in that respect. So talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about Jonathan Lekkerimaki. Where do you see him going in the NHL draft? And if your team is taking, I don't know, somebody in the top 15 or in the top 20, is Lekkerimaki the guy you want your team to set their eyes on? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.